Now, what I'm referring to is what's happening today in the day of Bible prophecy. It's coming from Daniel chapter 5 concerning the Nebuchadnezzar's son drinking out of the vessels of God. Now, we had this earthquake in Hades a few days ago, about a couple of weeks ago, or 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I'm going to show you this. I showed you the status quo of Israel, how it is today. Spoken of in Bible prophecy, all of these is lining up. These become the handwriting on the wall because what I read to you and showed you these things, God declared he spoke these things from the foundation of the world. These are not new. This is nothing new. This is his word that went out, and it's not coming back to him void. Even though they were cut off, many, the Chaldees would, their some would hold their integrity towards the word of God. Listen at the mindset. I'm going to give you insight on both sides. If we drop the ball and fail to understand the handwriting on the wall, we will miss it. The characteristics of the character becomes the handwriting of God. We know the tree by the fruit it bears, because the fruit is going to act out the origin of the tree upon which it came. Well, let's look at Haiti. It has been alleged that the United States has been in there many times. But how is it? If the United States was so sacred and so holy, then why is this nation is the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere? How is it? If you was a friend of a friend, shouldn't you both look after the welfare of each other? If you is rich, how come he cannot just have a little? How can he be poor and you is rich? Something doesn't add up here. And then when it comes a national disaster to this man that you call his friend, Haiti, who the United States have in many times, once they say 20 years. Why is you rich and he's poor? Why are you rich and he's on the brink of starvation? Why is it that you got to haul heavy equipment over to his land to dig him out and he don't have any heavy equipment of his own? But yet and still you said that they don't need nobody else over there. We got to go over there. What have you did before this earthquake? God had to bring certain disasters up on us in order to remind us the handwriting been on the wall from the foundation of the earth. And the man that proclaimed him to be the salvation of these nations and the people is the Antichrist. Jesus himself spoke of in St. John the son of perdition. God. When he went and spoke back to Paul, Paul spoke of the son of perdition. Revelation chapter 17 speak of the force of perdition. How is it all of these things are saying and we cannot understand them? These are the handwriting on the wall. I want to show you something. We had previous presidents, three, I guess. I want to talk about the two. President Clinton and President George W. Bush. What President George Clinton didn't do became that small pebble. What President Bush Clinton didn't do up in his watch, what he didn't do in his watch became the little small pebble that fell on top of the mountain and became a small snowball that contributed to the avalanche caused by President George W. Bush on his watch. They both coincide one with the other. So you say, well, how is this? It's prosperous. It's prosperous, sure. Sure, it's prosperous. According to what you see. God's ways is not man's ways, and man's ways is not God's ways. He spoke that. I just read that. But he wrote it on the wall because he knew that the man didn't understand his words. Let's look at the Rwanda incident with President Clinton, former President Clinton. I looked in the eyes of this, and they showed a documentary up there, where they went in and took all the white peoples out, and all the United Nations took their own out, and the one they selected, and left all of those poor peoples without weapon to be slaughtered by a hand-picked black men, young men, who was created by the United Nations to serve their will. So they could have it to say at the end of the day, the white man didn't do it, the black man. Yes, you did. It's the hands that the people don't see. It's the handwriting up on the wall that God had placed throughout Bible prophecy when he said, you will despise dominion. He said that you'll go against the black people. He said throughout Bible prophecy, even in Habakkuk chapter 2, I believe, he said you do secretly, you exterminate the peoples of the world. A certain genetic color code. President Clinton turned his head and he didn't do it. It came as a greater devastation of what President George W. Bush did do. When he didn't protect the peoples, it showed us there was a genocide being acted out against that black man because there was a deep hatred from the foundation of the world. And 1 million or so peoples, 800,000, became slaves by the black peoples who was acting out the wishes, who was acting out the wishes of the law called democracy. We can't take this back. Even when he shipped the jobs overseas, that was destroying the infrastructure on the black man here in the United States of America, causing them to fail. This is what it was. Now, let's go to President George W. Bush. Now, during President George W. Bush watch after Bill Clinton, I said and I heard him. He said he wanted to democratize the whole world, but especially the peoples in the Middle East. It showed there was a deep hatred from the foundation of the world embedded in the mind of President George W. Bush. He said this, I heard him say this. He wanted to democratize the whole world. And he had Condoleezza Rice going there as Secretary of State, who was a black female, went there constantly speaking of a democratized system. But I just read you, God said the law of Moses, do not depart from this law. Don't depart.